Hey everybody, welcome to Docs Investing RX. Now, I'm going to try something a little different this week. I'm going to actually freestyle, go off script, and share some insights I have on trading this past week. Now, the main changes I've made in my portfolio is I've started slowly accumulating nuclear stocks as well as quantum stocks. Now, this play is going to be a longer term play, and that's why I've just dipped my toe in, picked up a few shares just so they're on the watch list. And on red days, I'll add to it. These include CCJ, CEJ. The other one was OKLO and VST. So those are my energy plays. And then for the quantum plays, IONQ, QBTS, QUBT, and RGTI. So these are the stocks that had promising charts that I liked. Again, I encourage everyone to do their own research, but these are the stocks I picked up this week. In addition, I've transitioned out of certain stocks. Now, if you follow me on After Hour, you know that I tried to play a stock on the pullback and it got brutally massacred. That stock was CNC, also known as Centene Corp. And because they do a lot of Medicare coverage, they got ripped a new one when they pulled guidance. Now, with the passage of the BBB, or as Trump calls it, the Big Beautiful Bill, it has huge Medicare cuts. And my bet was that the Republicans would not pass such a drastic bill, but they did. And the bet did not pay off. So I had to cut CNC. And on that note, UNH, one of the ones that I was trying to play for a good bounce, I made some good money on it since I dipped in at 260 or so, but I did end up cutting down quite a bit. I just have about 50 shares left and just going to ride that for, see where it goes. It's still undervalued, but it's obvious that the current government admin have no inclination for anything healthcare. So I'd rather take that money and capital and use it for other purposes. So one of the stocks that I picked up a good chunk in is Palo Alto Networks, okay, PANW. The reason for this is cybersecurity. Now, with the bombing of Iran, there has been an uptick in cybersecurity crimes, and it's only going to get worse with the advent of AI and so forth. My feeling is that we're going to see very promising results in the cybersecurity network, and PANW is one of the big players, Pelosi's favorite. So I'm behind it. So I went ahead and grabbed a big position in that. The other thing that I was looking at was Eli Lilly, which is a pharma play. So not to be mixed up with Medicare and healthcare, but a pharma play. So it has pulled back a little bit because it's run into some issues with its drugs and European politics, to say. But I find it at a very nice evaluation at the moment. So I figured, why not jump in? Of course, in the middle of the day today, Trump announces a 200% tariff on pharma. The thing is that it is going to be pharma from other countries. So this may actually be good news for American companies. So my big plays is Moderna and Eli Lilly. So outside of that, it's been relatively quiet. Now, one of my lotto plays for the week is Unity. That's the simple U. Now, the momentum on this has been very bullish. It's got volume, got big fat green candles coming in. I'm not quite sure what the reasoning is, right? But there's somebody's accumulating and I'm behind that momentum. So Unity has been the play this week. I'm going to continue to follow this until I see some weakness. Now, even at the start of trading today, it was fizzling out, but before you knew it, it started rallying again. So again, Unity is my lotto play of the week for that reason. I'm playing it with both calls and selling some out of the money puts. Another lotto that I have is a bit on the long term, i.e., at least 2 years out, and that's Lucid. Now, the stock's been a rough one to say the least. However, they just set the record for the longest range for an EV. The Lucid traveled over 700 miles, and this was on a European route. And so the stock rallied quite a bit. And so I think with everything happening with Tesla, Lucid itself is not as reliant on EV credits to sell cars. There's a turnaround story here. The main thing, however, is their Gravity launch has stumbled, right? They hit a roadblock, and that was a supply chain shortage. And people who follow Lucid know that a very similar thing happened back when they released the Air. There were delays because of supply chain shortages. In this case, it's the heads up display for the Gravity. So people who have ordered the heads up display and really want it are being delayed until the fall. So the Gravity delay has hit the stock. However, I think the long game is still intact. The mid-tier segment that they're going to announce later next year is going to be the real game changer for Lucid. And that's when they'll be able to ramp up. Again, I'm not looking for gigantic numbers like Tesla, because remember, Tesla took almost over a decade to get ramped up to significant quantities where they became profitable. But at $2.30 a share, it's a cheap gamble. It's something worth trying. And again, I like that the fact that they're backed by Saudi money, they have a plan in place. They make the best car on the market in terms of an EV, in terms of efficiency, performance, quality of materials, etc. So yes, long Lucid as a lotto play. The other play that I'm following right now are my favorites, right? I have my Nvidia and my Apple. So Nvidia is teetering on all-time highs. It has broken out of its constraints, to say, since last June, and it's finally making new movement upwards. I think that we're going to see a bit of a cool down, but I anticipate a continued grind upwards. So I'm still long Nvidia. I just don't think we're going to see outsizable gains like we have with some of these more beaten down stocks. One of these beaten down stocks like Apple, I'm still very long. I anticipate Apple is going to turn things around this fall. Again, we may be disappointed, but Apple, I have shared in the past, is a hybrid play to me. It is a value stock and a growth stock. It's a defensive play and an offensive play. So for me, Apple is one of those pieces of my portfolio that I just set it and forget it. I get my dividend. They sit on billions and billions of dollars of cash money. They'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about Apple. Nvidia is the market leader in semis, AI, the future. So those are my two biggest parts of my portfolio. I'm slowly working towards introducing these new aspects, like I mentioned, with the quantum computing and nuclear power. I did start pulling back a little bit out of the semi space. I'm still heavy on Nvidia, but I closed out my SMH calls. I just have a smaller position there. And the other one that I've been playing is ARM Holdings. It actually hit a great high and unfortunately gave up most of those gains on the way back down. So I'm holding on to that for now, but I'll be looking for an exit. My Lotto play, Intel, has actually been very promising. So I was able to dip in on the last earnings when it dipped down to 19 and change. It's back up to about 23.50 and it's ramping up. I see that this beaten down name is, starting to get some players. The new CEO looks promising, and I think that he's going to be able to put in a turnaround story. Now, I don't think it's going to be a game changer, but with that said, it's at the bottom, right? There's like only one way up, hopefully. So again, a lotto play, not major capital in it. And that's pretty much it. Those were my trades for the week. I hope this podcast has been helpful for some of my followers. I thought I'd try something different from the usual. And if you like this podcast, let me know. Share a comment, shoot me an email, og.hollywood@gmail.com, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.